The chat has spoken. And as we know, I am too small-brained to think for myself. I have to let Twitch decide everything I do. We are casting some Wamun games. If you haven't figured it out by now, Wamun is Wamun in this game. Wamun Marika, she is the partner of Beastyqt. But how do we know it's her playing and not Beastie in another room with remote access? Okay, we're not going to explore the conspiracy theories today. Marika, she's been doing well. She's been climbing. I think she's up to diamond rank, if I'm not mistaken. That's pretty damn good. You go, girl. Keep getting it. But she's playing some mega random up against someone called Racket and the French. Remo Wamun went for the deli. Now, I don't know if she plays a lot of deli. I feel like most people, at least out, Conqueror level, everyone knows how to play it. Everything below that, everyone just kind of like looks, turns their nose up and says, no thanks, mate. But the person she's up against, Racket, is like 5,000 to 6,000 ranked on the quick match leaderboards. In fact, if we check on the solo queue for Racket, Racket is 12,604. So they're plat level. But I think Marika, she managed to kick up into Diamond. I don't know if she's at Diamond level with the Deli. I guess we're going to find out. The Civ did get buffed in a lot of ways, but one key thing to kind of keep in mind is that you want to play towards a Castle Age build more than a Feudal Age build, which is very different. Like, if you only played a little bit of Deli in the past and you're coming back in and now you're experiencing again, you might be baited into playing this Prolonged Feudal. But I actually think Prolonged Feudal against the French is detrimental, and actually the French will come out ahead. And the French have options here, by the way. Remember that some people were experimenting with the Chamber of Commerce. There's even records of me losing against Conqueror-level players trying that strategy. Thanks, Strongo, for only featuring those games. Where I went for the Chamber of Commerce trade. And actually, the opening is pretty strong. It's pretty solid. Like, you sacrifice a little bit of timing on your knights, pushing out the initial ones, but you get a potent income for free, right? Because remember, the Chamber of Commerce got changed so that every eco upgrade you've researched, you get a free trader being produced from a Chamber of Commerce. And the cool thing, and the reason I'm mentioning on this map, is actually this is a very well-defended line to trade along. You can see it, right? Like, you follow it this way, and there's natural barriers. There's wood lines plus the choke points and the cliff sides that would actually allow Racket to get almost a full-length trade going on with little access for about 2/3 of the route. We'll see if he plays into that, though. The cool thing as well, like I said, you do sacrifice your time on your first night, but genuinely, you feel better about 4 nights deep, right? Because, like, you can set it up so the first, like, trade is already being produced when you tech up. And by the time you're 4 or 5 nights in with the way you usually scale, you're probably getting your first gold drop-off. But instead, it's going to be the School of Cavalry. School of Cavalry that has not been altered at all whatsoever. Yawn, same old thing, boring, go again, new Civ. School of Cavalry can be sexy if a game goes deep enough, because the thing you have to remember is that School of Cavalry is giving you a 20% increase in production speed across all stables. It's why I originally anticipated that School of Cavalry would still be the go-to opening for the French, simply because if the game goes deep enough, you can't get this 20% increase in production anywhere else, right? It has to be this landmark or you don't get it for the game. But an argument for this is admitting that you're going into Imperial Age Plus as the French, and I feel like you don't want to be there, right? Actually, most French builds rely on the Castle Age, boom time to end the game, where usually you go raw institute, you get your hands on these buffed up knights that essentially you feel like you're in a kind of mini Imperial Age, right? And that's your timing. Anything past that, and I start to feel that the French lose relevance as the game goes on. How are we doing, Wildman? Marika? Oh, thank God. Oh, my God. Dude, oh. Was I the only one that looked at Wildman's base, and for a moment I thought she had no one building the landmark? I looked over, I was like, oh, my God. No one's building her landmark. It's fine, guys. There's 4 villages hidden in here. Oh, that was so dicey. But she's going up with the Dome of Faith, and I think this is the right call. Like, Dome of Faith just feels better. The changes to it now being a mosque in conjunction with the bigger discount compared to the previous patch, I think we're going to see most players pivot back towards Dome over the Tower of Victory. Yellow Spirit, that's true. Yellow Spirits are building it. It's kind of crazy when you zoom in and realize what's happening there. Yo, these guys are actually, like, slackers, though. These guys are just in it for the paycheck. They don't care about building something that truly matters. Like, half of them aren't even actually building. Like, you see that? One of those guys was just walking back and forth on scaffolding doing nothing. I call laziness, sir. Well, woman with the tech up, now instantly dropping the racks because, of course, she is up against the French. This will play to her advantage considering that Racket has opened up with the School of Cavalry. So this was always needed as an opener. However, it's quite late coming through. And wow, look at everyone coming through the raids. Dr. Warman setting me up, but now Calp, you cuties, I absolutely love you. Thank you for the raid and hope you had some good games. We're just checking on Warman's. Already checked on some Calps already. You guys will be able to catch them on the YouTube side later. The village is already pushed back. No textiles being pumped just yet by Warman. Would be to her advantage now, considering that there's an archery range follow-up behind this. Things feel like they're going a bit quicker for Racket, though. 2 knights already in Archer. Now, the downside for him is this is a well-contained area. If Wamoon just actually walls between these 2 wood lines, it's very difficult to get raids going without being noticed. Especially when we check the vision game, right? Like, she's actually playing blind on the backside, so it's an explorable area considering the berry patch. But now, since Wamoon is that paranoid, she's just actually condensed herself more towards the TC on the sheep. What? Hold on. All right, this is, I mean, bold. Bold to go for the double blacksmiths. You know, when I'm under fire from French knights and archers, I too would like to take less damage. I respect that, but you are now going double blacksmiths with only a Rax. And the standard opening for knights is, for French, is knights into archers, right? So you actually haven't prepped the counter to the second layer at all. It would be difficult, though, right? The second layer that she needs is horsemen. But going a horseman with this lack of food is difficult. But realistically, the spearmen allow you to access new food. And the horsemen make sure that the archers can never contest. A big issue I do see for Wamoon is she doesn't know that this is coming, right? She actually has no eyes on the archers. And in fact, Racket so far has kept this completely shh. It hasn't revealed it at all. So by the time that Wamoon realizes it, it may be a little bit too late here. Knight will be sniped, though. Did take a few villagers with him. And he had been doing this for a while, like skirting and idling out villies. So not the worst exchange for Racket. Especially if it just keeps everything still in the base. So these archers are able to quickly ambush before Wamoon has an answer. An ambush they will. Start to snipe out the spears. More on the way. Needs to micro these back, though. Racket standing your ground, probably not advised, as the spearmen will gradually win out. Now Wamoon in quite the pickle. Not much food left to work with. No stables set up yet. And now committing into double stables. This is dangerous. She'll have one shot at this. And I'm wondering if she'll actually have enough food to make double stables worth it. Like, what are we looking at here? We're looking at... She's got a decent amount of sheep up here, right? Okay, yeah, she's got plenty. So double stables can make sense. She's got enough sheep here. But the thing that's curious to me is, like, you know, really what you want to be doing is just getting a bit more gold. Because if you get the gold, you can buy extra scholars and bank them inside the stables. And this is a really big deal, even more so now with the buffs to the scholar, because now she's paying 150 wood as opposed to paying 65 gold for a second stable. Now, the argument could be she's not going to get any more gold, which is true now. But I think at the time, maybe you could have justified it. Probably could have actually been using these Raxes with the Scholar as well earlier on to get enough spears. It's one of those difficult things to remember when you're under fire like this. So I definitely feel for her. But if she actually had that Scholar, maybe she would have got enough spearmen to kind of buffer the knight away a bit quicker. Oh. Tough one as well. I just realized, like, these walls were built by a villager. Oh, a villager that's going to be stuck on the wrong side. It's like, Mama. Mama, please. No. No way. He's alive. How is he alive? Racket. Oh, no racketeering on villagers going on here. He just walks away. Other villagers are going to be sniped, though. Commitment in. Wamoon now forced to commit maybe earlier than she wants to with the horsemen. However, the Knights seem to be a little bit in disarray. Only one of them is actually getting involved in the fight, but he will drag away the entire army. Okay. All right, Racket. That was styling right there. That actually reset it well enough that there's not enough spears anymore. And if he regroups the rest of the Knights, this is a very hard fight for Wamu to now take. She has got the walls up. She has got a way of extending behind her. She's got a lot of wood. I'd love to see her set up some farms. This is a perfect point to do so before you start running out of surplus food. Maybe just put more people on food to kind of fuel this army. Or produce. There's an option as well. The horsemen have cleaned up in the meantime while we were checking that out. So that's why she hasn't been spending the resources. Wamu just took out the army. Racket. I don't know what's been going on here. I feel like his knights haven't really been involved in these exchanges. Okay, well, no, it's fine. Racket is just, doing as you usually do with knights and using them to torch buildings, which is totally an understandable play. I mean, like, because if I had a role for a guy wearing heavy armor, it would be for him to carry a very hot flame that would probably make his armor hotter. He's at least now fighting with the horsemen, but it's unfortunate for him. If he'd done this with the archers, I think it's a very hard fight for Wamu to take, but instead, she now comes out ahead. Farms were set up behind this. Wow, now this... Okay, this explains a lot. I think Racket weakened his timings excessively. Like, he wasn't doing too bad, right, with the Knights microing away, forcing Wamu into 1 or 2 bad exchanges. But now, like, looking back and realizing what's happened here, between the idle villages and the fact that you commit to this many farms this early. Folks, this is 8 farms. That's 600 wood. And if you look not even a screen away, you'll see deer that he could have had for free. Oh, God, I need some... All right. We saw this in the qualifiers. People seem to like berries more than they like deer for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, it makes sense when you're playing the Delhi of the Abbasids, but not so much when you're playing the French. But I remind people, we literally saw this behavior out of a player that qualified for Golden League 2 on the weekend. So we shouldn't judge it too harshly. I am judging the farms 100% harshly, though. It's like, your goal is to actually delay a farm transition as long as possible, right? Like, farms are such a heavy hitter into your scale. Like, they're great as the game goes on, but you're actually sacrificing something in the interim to get them set up. And these deer, they were free. The berry play made sense, but the deer, not at all, like, being touched by Racket. Oh, God. And it's because he never scouted it. But that's okay, so let's play devil's advocate here and defend Racket's logic. Racket doesn't see the deer. Oh, noob, why not check backside of base for deer? It's mega random. Now, he should understand there should be 4 deer stacks total, and he's only seen, what, 3? So it's unfortunate he didn't check behind the base, but like you can kind of forgive it to a certain degree because it's mega random. Still, unfortunate nonetheless that he didn't go scout around that backside. Because I think if he did, his army would probably be about, like, 10 extra at this stage. And we're talking an early phase, right? So he would have had enough to defend, but now Wamu, with the horsemen, with the spearmen, taking full control. She does need to fix her wood situation. She's got enough wood at this stage to build a dam. But outside that, god damn is she doing a good job. She's also moving out the deer, so understands pocket economies are important here. And notice this is a big difference. Like, she can actually afford farms. She's got way too much wood. She needs to use it somehow. Oh, boy. And Wamu, okay, interesting. She tries to finish off the knight. She does see this being built up. So could have committed on the villagers. Now will with the dead brain spearman strat. Should be pointed out, this outpost is not a safe place, a safe haven for Racket. Plenty of villagers that still need to run away. And with this many horsemen, like, you can just tank the outpost and torch it down. Exactly what Wamu's going to do. In fact, she used the horsemen to chase after the villagers. We'll snipe out several of them. That's 4 going down there. She doesn't need to be scared of this fight either. Like, this is the entire army for Racket, and this is weak. More farm, man. Yeah, I think the farms actually cost Racket this game. I mean, Wamu played her timing well. She got kind of juggled. She got Benny Hills in the initial big clash on her gold vein. But after that, she completely caught Racket not looking. And since then, she's done a great job. I don't feel like Racket has any way back in this game now. Wamu, well, she's going up. It is going to be the House of Learning. Only 4 people, not the quickest tech up, but this will give her additional resources elsewhere. I think she could actually pull anyone she's got on wood to try and fix this. And then obviously you want to focus food and gold for when you tech up. Food is the biggest imperative detail for Wamun, though. Just keep more troops coming. Actually, we'll do that. More horsemen on the way. Meantime, it's like the horsemen have been cleaned up, so our army is going to be reset. Maybe a little bit ambitious diving into the outposts here. She did buy vital time, though. She did slow down Racket. Racket. He did lose a few villages in the process. Was idled out on the farms. Tough play now for Racket to get back into this. All right, House of Learning is about to complete. You're nowhere near tech up yourself. You've only got 5 knights to speak of. And keep in mind, this is a player that already has double stables. Now, if Wamun was to actually garrison these 2 stables to double the production speed on the Lancers, she'd have a really spooky timing on her hands. Alas, I don't think... Yeah, I don't know if Marika's still hanging around the chat, but like I haven't seen her use it once. It might just be one of those things to easily overlook, right? There's a lot of kind of convoluted details about the Delhi, but learning to use military efficiency efficiently is definitely a very big deal for this Civ. It's the logic, like in the other game, it saves you so much resources. As you get into these key timings, like it doubles the pace at which you push out these units. And as we've seen in previous replays, like Civs like, for example, the English with their White Tower build now, being able to tech up and immediately push out a knight in half the time is so potent. Racket, man. Oh, wow. He just spotted the deer. He's got to be hating it right now. The amount of time he spent just building up farms instead. I mean, Racket still not looking too bad. Like, Wamun kind of threw away the army a little bit ambitiously, diving towards the gold. Someone mentioned in chat, like, I think the combined camp may have just burnt out, had to be rebuilt, but small detail, right? Especially with the French, it only cost 25 wood. Racket has at least got control of his base again. Wamun using that control over the map, moving out onto both deer stacks now. This is very good. Relics also starting to be collected. Very slowly, though. Interesting that she stopped producing scholars, but it looks like she's trying to fix that now in the Dome of Faith. It's going to take some time. It should be an easy, like, 3, maybe 4 relic grab. Racket's now rushing up, though. Royal Institute on the way. Only 5 knights doesn't make me feel good, though. And Wamun, well, she's already dropped a castle in the center. Interesting. So remember, this is a House of Learning build, right? So she actually hasn't got... She hasn't started learning yet. That's, that's a slight problem. This is what I mean. It's the things you just forget to do with the Delhi, right? You feel so silly afterwards, but it happens to so many. Like I still remember casting, I think it was Poppy Paw, playing Delhi and not upgrading any techs for the first 20 minutes. Like, he didn't even get wheelbarrow. It happens. Straight around the backside by Racket, though. We'll try to get some damage done. We'll be able to shove down 2 of the villages. This is kind of sad, though. Like, what's this elephant chase after? Oh, God. It's like when the 2-year-old wants to go jogging with the, you know, the full adults. It's like, it's adorable, but it just doesn't work. In this situation, this 2-year-old has biceps the size of Mike Tyson. But otherwise, the metaphor holds up. Norman, interesting enough, did actually go on the offensive again. Wait, did he lose? Did he just lose loads of village? Oh, no. Did I miss a bunch of villagers dying back here? No, they just split up and he just... Okay, I guess the castle had him frustrated. The elephant's on the way, the outpost. He just kind of felt it was over. So, Ramen takes the game. It's 47-48. Yeah, like I didn't feel like he lost more villages. I think he just kind of felt lost with what to do next. You know, Racket clearly had kind of an all-in timing that he had in mind, and it didn't work out. You know, maybe like tip to him is just kind of work on that all-in timing. Like there was a bunch of things missing. Going farms is not a good feeling. Maybe what happened there is psychological damage. It took him so long to discover the deer that when he finally did, he sat on it, he gathered from it, and then like halfway through, he's like, I don't like this anymore. He ran out of berries like, I don't want to build more farms. Some people saying he had dinner in the chat. No. He was having his dinner right there. It was venison on a plate. But, you know, by the time he realized it was actually deer for dinner, it was a little bit cold, and I think he likes it warm.